Шановні пані та панове, їх високоповажності президент України Володимир Зеленський та генеральний секретар НАТО Єнс Столтенберг. Заява президента України.
Statement of the President of Ukraine.
Дуже дякую, шановний пане генеральний секретар, шановна команда пана Столтенберга, шановні присутні, шановні журналісти. Ми вітаємо генерального секретаря НАТО Єнса Столтенберга в Україні, в Києві, в Україні, яка стоїть міцно вільно і бачить перспективу повного звільнення нашої землі від російського окупанту. Цей візит пана генерального секретаря перший за час повномасштабної війни. Ми трактуємо
Is the first one since the beginning of this war, and this is a sign, we consider it a sign of alliance readiness to open a new chapter with new solutions. Today, we discuss four key issues. First is Ramstein, the meeting that will be held tomorrow, and we do expect decisions from our partners, particularly, primarily, on military support for our active actions. The faster our servicemen will be able to on the battlefield, the sooner Europe will see peace. I am thankful to Secretary General for his start of this visit with the tour of the recently deoccupied towns and communities.
Убереже інші держави і народи від таких же страшних руйнувань, втрат і смертей, які Росія принесла нашій землі, нашій Бучі, де був генеральний секретар, нашому Донбасу, іншим частинам нашої землі. Друге питання – це певна нерішучість деяких наших партнерів щодо оборони. Я звернувся до пана генерального секретаря із проханням допомогти нам подолати стриманість наших партнерів у постачанні деякої зброї, а саме далекобійної, сучасної авіації, артилерії, бронетехніки, гальмування відповідних рішень. Це час, який втрачається для миру, і це життя наших воїнів, які поки не отримали життєво необхідних оборонних інструментів відповідної кількості. Третє питання – це Вільнюс. Вільнюський саміт НАТО може стати історичним. Я вдячний за запрошення відвідати саміт, але важливо, щоб і Україна отримала відповідне запрошення. Немає жодного об'єктивного бар'єру, який перешкоджав би ухваленню політичних рішень про запрошення України в Альянс. І саме зараз, коли більшість людей в країнах НАТО і більшість українців підтримують вступ нашої держави в Альянс, час для відповідних рішень, вже неможливо уявити безпеку євроатлантичного простору без України і люди. Люди це розуміють. Четверте питання – власне, гарантії безпеки для України, для нашої держави, для українців на шляху до НАТО. І я наголошую, ці гарантії безпеки ні в якому разі не замінюють і не відкладають членство України в НАТО. Поки триватиме реалізація рішень, безпека вже потрібна. І як доведено історією, це потрібно не тільки для нашої держави, а для усіх в Європі, для усього вільного світу. Саме безпекова невизначеність розпалювала ілюзії агресора. Отже, безпекова визначеність стане надійним захистом від повторення будь-якої нової агресії проти народу України чи будь-якого іншого європейського вільного народу. Я дякую за початок наших переговорів. Вони тільки почались. І дякую вам за увагу. Впевнений, будемо надалі разом утверджувати мир в Україні, в усій Європі, в світі. Слава Україні!
Заява генерального секретаря НАТО.
President Zelensky, dear Vladimir, thank you for hosting me here today. It's really a great honor and pleasure to be back in Kiev and to meet with you. Your personal leadership, the courage of your armed forces, and the resilience of the Ukrainian people have inspired us all. More than a year on from the invasion, Russia's war of aggression continues to cause untold human suffering. With brutal attacks on homes and hospitals, playgrounds and power stations. This morning I visited Bucha, and I was deeply moved by what I saw there. Russian atrocities continues against the Ukrainian people today, and those responsible must be held to account. I also laid a wreath at the wall of remembrance of the fallen for Ukraine. I pay tribute to all those who have lost their lives or suffered wounds, seen or unseen, in defense of their homeland. They will not be forgotten. Mr. President, I'm here today with a simple message. NATO stands with Ukraine. We stood by you after Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014. We stand by you today in your heroic fight against the Russian invaders and in defense of your country. And we will stand by you tomorrow as you rebuild and work toward a brighter future for the Ukrainian people. Over the years, NATO allies have provided training for tens of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers. And since last February, NATO allies have delivered more than 150 billion euros of support, including 65 billion euros of military aid. This has enabled your troops to force Russia out of Kiev, Kherson and Kharkiv. Allies are now delivering more jets, tanks and armored vehicles. And NATO's Ukraine Fund is providing urgent support, including medical supplies, mobile satellite systems and pontoon bridges. All of this is making a real difference on the battlefield every day. We do not know when this war will end, but we know that Russian aggression is a toxic pattern that must be stopped. We agreed on the importance of a just and sustainable peace, and I strongly welcome President Zelensky's peace plan. We must continue to strengthen Ukraine's armed forces, and we must ensure that robust, powerful arrangements are in place for Ukraine's security. Let me be clear. Ukraine's rightful place is in the Euro-Atlantic family. Ukraine's rightful place is in NATO. And over time, our support will help you make this possible. Today, the President and I discussed a multi-year support initiative. This will help you transition from Soviet-era equipment and doctrines to NATO standards and ensure full interoperability with the alliance. It is a testament to NATO's long-term commitment to Ukraine. NATO stands with you today, tomorrow, and for as long as it takes. So, President Zelensky, thank you again for hosting me here today. I look forward to welcome you to the NATO summit in Vilnius in July.
Дякую, шановні колеги. Є можливість для кількох запитань. Будь ласка, Інтерфакс України.
Questions, Interfax Ukraine Information Agency.
Олександр Мартиненко, Інтерфакс України.
Alexander Martinenko, Interfax Ukraine. My question is regarding the Vilnius summit to President Zelensky, to Secretary General Stoltenberg. What concrete steps from NATO will satisfy Ukraine? Will it be a roadmap or something else? This is to Mr. President. And question to Mr. Stoltenberg. Some of the NATO member states would rather not consider Ukraine's membership not to, bring oil from Russia. How this can be dealt with? Thank you for your question. If you do not, if you agree,
Мені здається, в вашому
Secretary General, I
запитанні
will
є
start.
часткова
You know, I
відповідь, які
think
кроки
your
ми
question already has an answer in it. What steps we would expect? We really would expect some steps. Some steps, specific ones, concrete ones,
для нашої держави,
which
для нашого
would
суспільства,
be understandable for us, for our nation, for our public,
ми про це
about
почали говорити.
Ukraine's future. In NATO, we started discussing that with Secretary General.
Щось більше,
We
ніж
spoke about us needing
той
something
формат наших відносин, в якому ми сьогодні
bigger, better
знаходимося.
than
Ми
the current
високо
format of
цінуємо, що
relations we
країни
have today.
союзники
We
підтримують
highly
нас
value
зброєю, але ми
the huge
хочемо
level of
розуміти
support from the
Україну.
allied nations to Ukraine, but we also would like to know when and how Ukraine might join NATO and what security guarantees will be available to Ukraine on the way towards NATO membership.
Не готуємо
I'd like to reiterate and repeat it. We are not preparing
членство в НАТО.
for any alternative of NATO membership. We are not considering this as a compromise solution.
Не нашому суспільству, бо
And
наше
my
суспільство,
words
мені
today go
здається,
not
це чітко
to
усвідомлює.
our
Я це
public
говорю
because our society
деяким
clearly
лідерам
understand that.
деяких
My
держав,
words
які
rather go
шукають
to
постійно
leaders of some
компроміс
countries
майбутньому
permanently looking
членству
for
України.
some compromises to Ukraine's
будемо в
membership in
альянсі.
NATO.
Ми
We
вважаємо,
will
що це
be
є гарантія
members in the
безпеки
alliance,
для
and I think these will
України.
make specific
А пакет
guarantees of
гарантій на цьому
security
шляху.
for Ukraine.
Допоки ми
And
ще
while
не
we
в
are on
альянсі,
this way,
ось це ми
while
хотіли
we
би
are not
затвердити
members
і
yet,
також бути в цьому
we'd
дуже
like to
конкретно
have this
затвердити
package approved.
у Вільнюсі.
And
Якщо
we hope this
буде
will
така
happen in Vilnius.
можливість, ми
If
з нашого
the
боку
possibility
все
arises,
підготуємо.
from our side, we will be ready to prepare everything for that.
The Vilnius summit will be important for many reasons, but not least because I expect that the NATO allies will recommit to stand by Ukraine for as long as it takes and announce and recommit to continue to provide substantial military support, enabling Ukraine to prevail as a sovereign independent nation. I also expect that NATO allies at the Vilnius summit, with the presence of President Zelensky, will agree to further strengthen NATO's package for Ukraine with even more support. Then, of course, I also recognize that President Zelensky will raise the issue of membership, of security guarantees, and this will be high on the agenda of the meeting and also in the lead up and the preparations for the Vilnius summit. Ukraine's future is in the Euro-Atlantic family. Ukraine's future is in NATO. All allies agree on that. At the same time, the main focus of the alliance of NATO allies now is to ensure that Ukraine prevails, is to ensure that Ukraine continues to be a sovereign, independent, democratic nation in Europe, because that's the only way to also have a meaningful discussion about Ukraine's future membership. And therefore, the main focus, the urgent need, is the military support to Ukraine, which is something we work on every day. We discussed it today. We'll discuss it in Ramstein, where we meet in the US-led contact group for Ukraine tomorrow, and every day in the lead up to the Vilnius summit, and also at the Vilnius summit, military support for Ukraine will be a main topic. So NATO has demonstrated that our door is open. NATO's door remains open, and then what we do, the support we provide to Ukraine, is making future membership for Ukraine possible.
Дякую. Наступне і останнє запитання буде від Bloomberg, будь ласка.
Доброго дня.
Thank you. The last question from
Ви,
Bloomberg.
пане президенте,
Hi,
вже
Mr. President.
затронули тему
You
наступної
touched on
зустрічі
the
в
topic
Рамштайні.
of
Чи
the
є,
next
можливо,
coming meeting
деталі,
in
які ви
Ramstein?
можете нам зараз
Do you have any
розказати?
special
І
detail to
таке ж питання
disclose to
до
us
пана
right
генерального
now? And my
секретаря.
question goes to
Ви
NATO
завтра
Secretary
будете на
General.
цій зустрічі. Ваші
Tomorrow you
очікування
will be
від неї
attending the
і з
meeting.
чим
What are your expectations of it? And
що НАТО буде презентувати?
what do you
Дякую.
think NATO might present at the meeting?
Дуже дякую за запитання. Важливе Рамштайн.
Thank you for this question.
Знаєте, до чого
Ramstein
Україна
meeting
готується
is important. You don't
з
know what
приводу
Ukraine has been
підготовки
preparing for.
відповідних кроків.
I mean, preparing specific steps, and there are messages from our team that will be presented at this Ramstein meeting. Some things have to be pushed a bit to have the relevant armaments to strengthen our army come to our country sooner, even probably sooner than it was scheduled.
Я думаю, що важливо обговорити ту
I would
зброю, про
also
яку
deem it
ми
important
так
to
довго,
discuss
на яку
the
так довго
type
Україна
of
очікує,
arms that
на
Ukraine has been waiting for that long.
відповідно тренінг
We
місії
do expect
наших пілотів,
training for our pilots on mission. We also expect for long-range weapons. We with specific partners to discuss in specific numbers to be sought. We need to really press for that.
At the meeting in Ramstein tomorrow, I expect that the NATO allies and partners will make new announcements of concrete military support to Ukraine. And that, of course, will come on top of the unprecedented support which has already been delivered. And I expect the NATO allies to do so, both because it is the morally right thing to do. A sovereign independent nation in Europe, Ukraine has been attacked as a victim of a brutal war of aggression, and therefore it's Ukraine's right to defend itself, and it's our right to support Ukraine in upholding the right of self-defense, a right which is enshrined in the UN Charter. But it's also in our self-interest, because if President Putin wins, it will make the world more dangerous and us more vulnerable, because then the message is that when authoritarian powers like Russia, like President Putin, uses forces, they get what they want. So it's in our security interest, it's in the security interest of NATO allies to support Ukraine. Today we have had new announcements from allies. Netherlands and Denmark are announcing 40 new Leopard battle tanks. And then the United States has announced a new package of $325 million extra US dollars, including more HIMARS and ammunition and missiles for HIMARS. So these are concrete announcements which we actually had today, and I expect more to come, because it's an urgent need to ensure that Ukraine gets the weapons they need. Then we need a constant discussion on different types of platforms. And the support NATO allies are providing to Ukraine has evolved as the war has evolved. In the beginning, the main focus was on light anti-tank weapons like the Javelins. Then there was a big focus on artillery. Then it was on air defense systems, including advanced air defense systems like the NASAMS and the Patriot batteries. And now on the battle tanks, and now allies are also providing battle tanks, and actually allies are also providing fighter jets. We'll continue to discuss and assess what type of platforms. But let me add one more thing, and that is that in addition to discussing platforms, whether we need a new weapon type or not, it is extremely important to ensure that all the systems, all the weapons which are already in Ukraine work as they should. Meaning that they need ammunition, enormous amounts of ammunition. They need spare parts, maintenance, repair capabilities, maintenance. So yes, we should discuss whether there is a need for new platforms, but to just ensure that all the platforms which are there are working as they should is an enormous task, and that will also be addressed when we meet in Ramstein tomorrow.
Дякую за ваші відповіді, шановні колеги. Дякую за запитання.
Thank you for your answers. The press conference has been concluded.